Okay, this is day 34. This is part 3, and I just wanted to talk about something that's going to be happening here pretty soon. We're rolling over me covering this story for a year, and people have already noticed. Oh, your numbering scheme is going to screw everybody up. You know, your day 54, is that going to be the first year or the second year? And it's already happening to a certain extent because of the first 54 videos. There's Finn's and there's just people that put my videos out there for their channel and so forth and monetize their channel. I can't do anything about that. But the reason that I'm going to leave it the way it is because it's going to be a good flashback to what I said a year ago, now that we're getting into the Iran-Contra part, and it just fits right in with the Iran-Contra piece. Now remember, this is during a time of Pizzagate, people saying pizza was child trafficking. I'm not saying it's not, but what I was saying was Domino's was guns, weapons, and pizza was drugs. And, you know, it used to be a joke inside CIA, I believe. Domino's Pizza was a CIA cutout, and that's exactly what it was the pizza side of the Domino's business, which is, and again, this Navy guy last night that I talked to, he said, hey, most of the weapons are paid for by growing drugs in the destination countries. They don't have any money, so the only thing they can do is drugs. So here's a top intel guy saying that, so I got to believe him until somebody else comes along. But anyway, interestingly enough, if you go through here, what I'll do is just do daily corrections. So you'll be able to flash back a year and then just jump forward into the future like you had a time machine and see how things may be different. But in this episode, I wouldn't change one word, except I would probably, matter of fact, it reminded me of Kurzin, who was the guy who did the Kazakhstan deal, the Russian who did the Kazakhstan deal. I think that's going to be the Russian that paid the $523,000 to Fusion GPS. So it only just reminds me of people in the past that I've covered. The one thing I said in here was I was a citizen of Israel, and I meant that. In my heart, I am a citizen of Israel. And you can ask my son and my daughter. I've tried to get both of them into the IDF. Do I carry an Israeli passport? No, I do not. So that's the correction there out of that first 6 minutes. But if you watch this whole thing, it really ties the whole thing together. The only thing I didn't know at the time was the Operation 123.
Okay, day 34.
I talk about zero footprint here, which is Libya, which is pay for play in Libya. I talk about zero footprint, which is Turkey. It's Syria. I still don't know Turkey. I think it's Timber Tupelo, and I think this is going to be just called Operation 123. And 123 is uranium is the Underground Railroad, and 2 is drugs, 2 is arms, and 3 is drugs. So it's being run by an international.
Still no Mark Turi.
And I still say the 123 email at mail.house.gov is going to have all this information. Like I said a year ago, I just didn't know it was 123 at mail.house.gov, but it's going to have the zero footprint. It's going to have the Timber Sycamore. It's going to have Timber Tupelo for the overthrow of Turkey. It's going to have not Honduras, Guatemala. It's going to have all the things I said a year ago. So it's just a good reminder. And what also is good is now we know there's a link to New York. And like I was saying back then, that this was where the information was going, to Huma's server in New York. That was a wild speculation back then. Now everybody says, well, yeah, I guess it's probably going to be true. And I'm going to be able to answer that with one interrogatory saying, was there a connection? And the DNC discovery is coming right up. Was there an electronic connection or not between Hillary for America in New York and the DNC? We're going to find that out real fast. So as you go through here with McCabe and everything, McCabe was pretty much an unknown figure at that time. This was before. I mean, he had the one bribery story that had come out, but if you go through here, I talk about him doing wiretaps on all these different people. And at that time, that was outlandish to be said. Everyone was like, oh, no, he wouldn't do that. Now we know all about once a day with Samantha Powers at the UN doing wiretaps. We know about Susan Rice doing wiretaps. We know about McMaster doing wiretaps. Ordering wiretaps. And I said in this video, it goes all the way back to 1998 with McCabe, and I talk about Sibel Edmonds and so forth. All this is coming back. It's just as good now as it ever was. I was surprised how good it was. Now I'm not going to pick this up till day 54 because those are my videos. But there is outreach to Israel here, and I will say that. And art dealers and antique dealers of Europe did help me, and so that was an important piece back then. I still think Eric Braverman is the hero here. I think he was kind of maybe a plant to kind of watch over the Clinton Foundation, make sure that money didn't get go in directions it shouldn't have been going. But I do think he bristled at the drugs. Arms deals and setting that up for KKNR, I think was fine. But I do think the drugs, especially the watered down AIDS drugs, the Unitaid things that they were doing in Africa, IR Magaziner, I think that's where he bristled. And he would not sign those financial statements. I mean, there were just obvious financial flaws in the financial statements. Charles Ortel, the first time I met him, I said, Unitaid. Unitaid has twice the revenue as the Clinton Foundation says they gave, or I think it's the other way around. Clinton Foundation says they gave twice as much, and Unitaid says they only got half. So there you go. And the rest went to HSBC. We'll find out here in a little bit at the private bank.